So I got a great guest, a great student, a great project, a great subject matter. I can't wait. Yeah, those of you who are URI basketball fans, you may want to stick around, but it's not just about that. Don Coyne, who needs no introduction, world-famous sports broadcaster, longtime Channel 6, a producer in his own right, got a lot of special talents, and that's why he teaches at URI. He brought one of his students here tonight to showcase a program that they're actually running here on MyRI TV this weekend, which is a behind-the-scenes look at the URI basketball program. So we'll talk about URI life, we'll talk about students at URI, we'll talk about the production, we'll have a whole bunch of stuff going on here over the course of the evening. It is a pleasure to have you aboard. I consider this 2015's best melting day. Oh, how weird was it to be walking around today? As I drove into the Channel 12 studios, there was a woman who was obviously down by the New England Health and Racket, which is next door to us, who was running in shorts. And the snow's still up to here. And all I want to do is hit a golf ball, and if I did, I wouldn't find it, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. There will be a spring Virginia. All right, let's check into some of the things that are on our mind here tonight, make some commentary, and get on with the program. Yeah, I think that's what she created yesterday, she being Hillary Clinton. This needs to be applauded. When an institution of public note does something smart, as they say in Rhode Island, you need to say, that was smart, and I will do so. A report that I think ought to have generated a lot of interest and a lot of public discussion has been received by the political community like, or maybe they're hiding under the table, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I long for the old days. The ACLU is now coming after PTOs, we'll explain. And I think we've long known that the sports world is just that, but it comes home to roost every time you see some free agency move, don't you think? And your state of mind is important to us. Let's dig in, extrapolate, more questions and answers. Don't you think that's what she created yesterday? Hillary Clinton's headline after her UN address, she talks about having a couple of email accounts, and she actually has 2 phones. I'm not so sure she's been quite candid about the number of phones. I never thought we'd be talking about how many cell phones Hillary Clinton has, but because she's in this email debacle, she's got to talk about it. Here were some of the coverage yesterday.
I opted for convenience to use my personal email account, which was allowed by the State Department, because I thought it would be easier to carry just one device for my work and for my personal emails. The server contains personal communications from my husband and me, and I believe I have met all of my responsibilities, and the server will remain private.
For a lot of people living in the 90s that would love to see the details of the communications between her husband and her, but that was impeachment time. It's none of our business. Here's the problem. She's deleted 55,000 emails, and it's her discretion as to what you can see, what the State Department should be keeping, and what they shouldn't. Illegal, investigatable, absolutely unorthodox, yes, and it just goes to show you, when it comes to the Clintons, there's the Clintons' rules, and then there's everybody else's rules. She's not done with this, and it's not going to help her politically, that's for sure. On a local level, I just thought this was so smart. When I saw this in the headline today, I thought, good for them. Now, what is this? You remember there's this guy, well, I'm talking about Rhode Island College, and this guy, Gordon Fox, you've heard of him? The Speaker of the House, disgraced, right? Follow the timeline. So back in March of last year, our house got raided. Yeah, the Speaker's house, well, that's his home, but on the east side. He got raided, and his office got raided, which I think means that we got raided. I digress. Okay, he resigns after that, and now we've waited a full year to find out what happens. Last week, we found out that he pled to, bribery, wire fraud, tax fraud, and he's getting 3 years. Interestingly enough, I guess he was dumping out his accounts. His Political Action Committee account was one of the accounts he dumped out. He had $55,000 remaining in it, and he sent it to his alma mater, graduate 1985 at Rhode Island College. And what a beautiful thing that is, isn't it? Let me send the money back to the school. Well, the school, seeing that he had Splitsville and had been raided, thought, maybe we should just hold on to that money in a separate account and not build sidewalks or add to the nursing program or put a new scoreboard up in the gym or any of those things. They wisely put the money aside. You know, if they had spent the money and been kind of in a hock now to Gordon Fox, who gets jammed up, we would have been saying, what are they thinking? What are they thinking? I just think sometimes you got to say, that's brilliant, that's smart, that's good ethics, that's good government, that's good institutional decision making. It's all good. Now, he gets jammed up, the plea is entered, and they said this week they're sending the money back. They don't want him on their hands. The problem is his account's closed and they don't know where to send the money. So they're going to have to get some consultation on that. And to add insult to his injury, not only is he disgraced as the House Speaker, they're taking away his honorary degree, which he earned in 2010. Well done, Rhode Island College. Next item. Excuse me, one big yawn. And that's really what happened. 24 hours of the news cycle, and one of the biggest pieces of data on our public expenditure in a long time. The headline here is about Ken Block's nonprofit organization that is called watchdogri.org. You know, he issued this report showing that we have a 40% more expensive fire cost per capita than any other comparable region. He spoke about it, and then the president of the firefighter union reacted to it.
We are strapped financially as a state. We can't afford the billion-dollar unfunded pension liability. There's just no way, especially not in the small number of communities that is a part of.
He uses false analogies, false comparisons. He's taken the whole state or half the state in one case and tried to make a generalization out of that. And I think whenever you do that, you run the risk of missing the detail. And when we're talking about safety and fire protection, that's an important detail.
You know, Paul Dowdy right there, Dowdy, thank you, is a perfect gentleman. But he's going to play that role. He's going to poo-poo this data. He should not be the first person speaking publicly about Ken Block's work. The governor, who expresses herself as a change agent, who says she's got no fear, should be the first person to say in a 24-hour news cycle, hey, interesting work. I'd like to break down the numbers and learn a little bit more about it. We have 113 legislators in this state, not one of which has said, hey, you know what? We need to look at these numbers. The only person that said anything in this 24-hour news cycle was today on the radio, North Providence Mayor Charlie Lombardi, who, after I was complaining that nobody said anything, stepped up and said, hey, I closed a fire station. It wasn't politically feasible, but we did it, and now we're award-winning. This is a conversation that needs to be had. Change agency needs to be embraced, whether it's Ken Block or Joe Blow. You know what I mean? This has got to be walk the walk and not just talk the talk from folks like the Raimondo administration. Embrace the report, break it down, and see what you come up with. Next item. This is just weird. I understand it, but it's weird. Headline. Okay, so the ACLU, who likes to bust everybody's horns, has done this investigation into PTOs and PTAs. They're the same thing, right? AFL, NFL, parent-teacher organizations, parent-teacher associations. What they found after much investigation is that the PTOs and the PTAs have too many events that are stereotypical to gender. Too many dances for the girls, too many ball games for the boys. And they say that's a problem. Well, you know, back when men were men and sheep were sheep and, you know, all that, we knew the difference between boys and girls, and we didn't get our panties in a bundle over it. It doesn't mean that the boys can't go to a dance, and it doesn't mean that the girls can't go to a ball game. But it doesn't mean we have to completely neuter gender identification now, does it? ACLU should have something else to do, it seems to me. And it comes roaring back to us every time we see a story like this. All you folks got all emotionally involved in Mr. Rivas, didn't you? Bye. You all right with this, Kev?
Yep.
Kev is a season ticket holder. Hangs out in section 350 or whatever the heck it is. Has to put his oxygen tank on, you know, at Gillette Stadium so he can actually to see the. You got a headline or something? What happened here? You know, oh, here's a tweet. I want to thank the Pats and Pats Nation for an unbelievable year. New York, I'm coming home. You know, it could have been Timbuktu, I'm coming home, as long as they put the check out there. It's just not right. I mean, we've had a lot of players go back and forth from Boston to New York, but this one, I think, I don't know. I'll have to ask Don Coyne about this. He's expert more than I am in this field. See, you know, I think Wade Boggs was the one that hurt the most, but I'm dating myself. It's about the money, ladies and gentlemen. Do not let your romance get ahead of yourself. State of mind is important to me, meaning yours. I know what mine is, most days. 228-1886, state of mind at myritv.com, Facebook post, tweet, Dan York Show, don't forget the E. And Jamie writes on Facebook, continue to be amazed how someone who's continued to be rejected by the electorate of Rhode Island would continue to dedicate his time, effort, and money to addressing some of our most serious issues and challenges. I can't decide. Nikki, what do you think? Is that a compliment or a criticism of Ken Block? Compliment, I think. Most likely a compliment for Ken Block's report. Yeah. Jamie, write to the governor. Maybe she should take a gander at it. When we come back, a great project that you'll see here on MyRI TV this weekend. Stay tuned. So this is a cool thing here on MyRI TV this weekend. We'll put that screen up and we'll show you. It's called Rhody on the Rise. That would be a television program, noon and 3 p.m. Oh, it's on Fox as well. Got some good clearance, as they say in our business. And 7 o'clock on Sunday on MyRI TV. And the producer, brainstormer, Professor Don Coyne from URI. Wait, do I? Oh, that's right. I told you. Oh, I'm going to preview it first. Go ahead. Thanks, Kev. What happened?
Hold on to me as we go.
I bleed Kenny Blue, so very emotional for me and my family because we've been here since day one and we haven't gave up on this place and this place hasn't given up on me.
Coach Hurley was crying during that tribute pregame. You know, what does that mean to you?
Oh, that means a lot. Me and Coach Hurley, we got a lifetime relationship. I've tried to repay him with my play on the court and my work every day.
Nice, very nice. Welcome.
Hey, great to be back
stranger
here.
to the television scene.
And not to Channel 12 either. People don't realize I was the first sports intern ever at Channel 12. Years and years
in
ago.
what, 4AD?
Just pretty much. In 1982, under Mike Gorman was the sports director. I was the first.
Really?
Yeah, and I did sports here.
Yeah.
Before you were in town, actually, I was a sportscaster here for like 6 years.
Okay. What just dropped? Did I drop something?
No, that was
Did you
me,
drop
my
something?
glasses. I try not to show my glasses off these days,
Jeez,
but I'm still
Louise.
vain.
Let's say hi to
Yeah.
Jill before you and I just start like hanging out at the bar and enjoying each other. Hello, Jill.
Hi.
Jill's a senior here at URI and is taking part in this project behind the scenes. How many students do you have involved in this?
We have 12 students in the class taking part in it right now. So.
It's a sports broadcasting class, is that what it is?
It's not technically. What I want to do is teach them how to produce a half-hour show and something that they could take for any aspect. They want to do it environmental science, take it anywhere else, real estate, whatever. Sports is a good venue for get a lot of people excited about doing the show, and at the same time, show them the template of it. And of course, we have a lot of access to be able to gather material.
There is nothing like hands-on.
Right, exactly.
Theory, books, chalkboard, whatever is one thing. Getting out and doing it is the other, right?
Yeah, it really is.
What's your goal in life here in the business? Or is this some hobby class that you're taking?
No, I am a journalism major. I am very interested in film and just being behind the feature stories and finding the stories out there. So, it was a good class to really get a grasp on that. It's different from writing out a news story. It's more personable.
And she came up with one of the best story ideas. I was more pleased with her than any student. We were walking into the game, and I'm thinking we had lined up the show. We're going to do one on the star basketball player and the coach and the different people. And I'm thinking, nobody came up with a story on a cheerleader or a ramette or something different. That's what I want them to try to think a little bit outside the box when we get in.
And what did you dig up?
Well, I had seen on Instagram a girl, a cheerleader, who was playing with pythons and cockroaches. And, that's totally different from what you see for your stereotypical cheerleader. So I thought, why not do a feature on her? People don't normally see that every day.
You're correct. So that's in the program.
That's and for the squeamish people, it's right at the end of the show. So don't worry. You can as soon as you see the cockroaches, the show will almost be over at that point.
So what is your arrangement with this fine company that you were able to clear a broadcast produced by students on prominent commercial television.
So basically what I want to do is teach them real world. This is the real world stuff. I love PBS, but it's not PBS. You got to find a way to go out and sell your product. So part of the course is not only producing the half-hour show, but going out and selling the half-hour show to advertisers. And that's what we did. We raised enough money. You know, people like Dave's Market, the Muse Tavern, Riverbend Athletic Club, a lot of people gave us their support. Benris stepped up and gave us some financial backing to be able to put the show on.
So
yeah, so we raised.
So you bought the time.
Yeah, we bought the time. This is our time. This is a strictly financial thing. And I told the students, you got to raise the money. If you don't raise the money, you don't pass.
Were you involved in the sales process at all?
Yes, pretty much everyone was, but it was a little daunting, I'm not gonna lie, going out there and selling your pitch and then, you know, getting denied, getting that no. So, but I think we did good. I think, you know, we've raised a decent amount of money. We've got quite a bit of sponsors, and it's a learning experience, so.
I'm so glad, Professor, that you're doing that. It's funny, I spoke to a class at Dayton when I took a trip with URI last week, and I surprised them. It was a broadcast class, and I surprised them by saying, I know you're not going to believe this, but the most important thing you've got to think about is how you can be a revenue agent for the product that you are putting together, especially with the pressure of economy in the business today, correct?
Correct, and that's what I want them to realize. That
everyone thinks they're a creative genius, but they got to be able to market it and profit from it, unless they're independently wealthy, and then they can just put their stuff anywhere they want to.
I tell people, if it's, for instance, a website, you could have the greatest website, greatest video in the world. If you don't find a way to get that out there to people, what good does it make? You have to find a way to come up with a product that's appealing to people, and that's, for instance, with the Muse Tavern. We approached it. The Dan Hurley Coaches Show is there, so we're like, hey, how about we do a feature on the Dan Hurley Coaches Show, which is appealing to the audience, and at the same time, you get a little publicity in return for some advertising revenue.
When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the project itself and what Jill has learned. We'll test her. Stay with us. Uh-oh. Yeah, you know what? I should have asked for a little bit more video there. That was my bad, Kev. We have some other video that we could roll here from this project that you'll see on the weekend on Fox and MyRI TV.
What's it like to play under Coach Hurley?
It's about discipline, and he's an intense coach, but I love my coach Hurley. He really teaches me how to be a man, and a good way to carry myself and the way to carry the team. He's a real good competitor and makes us competitive, and that's why we go on the court and perform the way we do.
I mean, clearly, grade A videography and all of that coming from this class that Don Coyne, Don Coyne, is teaching these students at URI, and Jill from Coventry, a senior who's interested in this kind of stuff, is one of the 12 students that worked on this project. It's always fun. It's when students interview students. Do you find a little bit more? It's hard for you probably to compare, right? Because you're just getting started in the business. But peers like to talk to peers, so you probably get a lot out of the cheerleader.
It is a little more easier. It's less daunting, when you're talking to someone who's a professional or, higher up. You don't always know what to say, but when it's someone in your age bracket, it becomes a little easier. You know the same common things. You usually like the same things, so it's a little easier.
And that's what I tell them. Don't interview somebody. Have a conversation with them. That's all. Talk to them and see what comes out and listen to them. Don't have in your mind necessarily the next question you want to ask. I always tell people, have that one in reserve somewhere, but also listen to what they say, because you can have great conversations. And some of the best features, some of the best, I'm sure, interviews you have is something you didn't expect. All of a sudden somebody says a comedy and you're like, you do what? And all of a sudden it leads to a different venue. And also I just want to say, like that last piece we did, with Hassan Martin, Man of Steel, it fits. Superman, one of the reasons that was inspired us to do that was North Star Metals is one of our advertisers. So what can we do that to tie in North Star Metals and Elite? How about the Man of Steel? Just kind of.
He's doing a good job doing what we call value-added promotion. Everyone's getting a little bit of something here. Hey. But interviewees like interviewers of their peer age group too. Yeah, I would think that you probably got a lot out of the folks that you were speaking to, more so than maybe even I would. Because it's a relaxed thing that goes on between students.
I think so. Also, like Professor Coyne said, that talking like you're having a conversation makes it go so much smoother. You have no idea. Because I had tried going in there like with a set of questions, and it just, doesn't work as well. It really doesn't. So that I really took away from Professor Coyne.
What do you think about the students of today?
It's a pretty good class of students we have. Some are different. Some have had to have a
In
little.
general.
In general, and a lot of them aren't motivated enough. For instance, when I first started the class, I told them about myself, my background, my Facebook page I have for my production company that I did, and came in the next class, and only one of them had gone and looked at my Facebook page to learn about me, who's teaching them. And I kind of reprimanded them a little bit. And basically, if you want to get ahead in this business and in this world, you better not just do what's assigned to you. You better take it the next step further, or you're going to get nowhere. If you like selling insurance, that's fine. It's a good thing, but it's not going to work here. So I want to basically tell them, if I give you a nibble, go for a big bite.
Why doesn't that resonate with a lot of students? Why the lethargy that the professor is talking about?
That's a good question. Honestly, I also TA for other classes, and I've talked with other professors.
Teaching assistant?
Yes.
Yeah. I get the colors.
Yeah. I think students are so used to having adults telling them what to do that when they don't do it. So if you tell a student now to do an assignment, they're going to hand it into you handwritten on notebook paper instead of typing it up because you didn't tell them to type it up.
Mm.
So
Totally agree. Yeah. Mm. They just do basically, I don't want to say what mommy and daddy.
Are you
told
getting
them
them out
to
of their
do.
phones at least for a while?
Oh yes, definitely getting them out of their
putting
phones.
the phones away for
Nope.
a little bit of time during this class in your learning process?
Definitely,
A little
yeah.
interpersonal communication, speaking to people, looking them square in the eye, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I call them out. Do I call people out in the class when they die? I had a kid who didn't come to a class, and we were talking about, it was actually the sales guy who just left here. Pete Lucas had come and talked to the class of the previous class. Okay, let's review what we talked about the last class. I went to the kid who wasn't there. So what happened last class? And so, and just got to call them out.
On the upside, though, you get the aggressive students
We got some good ones.
that are learning something, and if you can reach just one, I'm sure you reached more than just one. Again, put up the screen, can we, real quick, Kev? Those shows are airing on Fox this weekend, noon and 3, and MyRI TV on Sunday. Thanks for coming. Good luck with it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Go Rhody.
We'll be right back. It's so important that your students learn from people who are in the business that they are interested in, right? It doesn't just mean broadcasting. And when Don Coyne is teaching at URI, those students are getting such a valuable experience because he's got years of that. And there's so many things in so many professional fields that are textbook ready, but the actual application when you're out on the road is what's most important. So good for Don, good for Jill, good for everybody. And if you've got a project where you're teaching kids, or if you're a parent of a student that's being taught by someone extraordinary, I'd love to have that stuff on the show. It's important to get a little bit more perspective on the world in this program other than just the political movers and shakers, Hey, listen, speaking of, though, with all that's gone on with Gordon Fox, the Speaker of the House, and the tepid response by the General Assembly in terms of campaign audits and the like, Common Cause's leader, John Marion, will be here tomorrow to talk about the things he thinks can be put in place to keep our politicians and their campaign funds in some kind of an accountable order. So make a note of that. And Friday, by the way, speaking of the ACLU, I'm not sure we'll be talking about PTOs and PTAs and gender orientation, but we are going to be talking about discrimination in Rhode Island and their latest report on that. So that's what we have coming up next year's shows. I'll see you on the radio tomorrow, noon to 3 on WPRO. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.